2, 1.
Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
So I'm from this little town out in, I think, in the middle of nowhere, but I was born and raised there, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It has a special place in my heart.
Coalinga?
Coalinga, yeah.
Right?
No, there's Coalinga.
Oh, Coalinga.
Or
Sorry.
Coalinga, you know,
What's the
depending
difference?
if, yeah. So anyways, if you're looking at a California map, north to south, east to west, smack dab in the middle is Coalinga. And I was born and raised there. My parents made a point of having us born and raised there. They wanted us to be able to say we were born and raised from somewhere. And, right, because they moved around. Like my dad moved around a lot as a kid. He was born in, I think, where was it, Arkansas? And then he moved around a lot. And so he never had a place where he called home. So they said, hey, we want you to have a place that you can call home.
Coalinga.
And they picked Coalinga.
What is Coalinga known for? What are the big industries there?
Well,
If you had to describe, hey, I'm from Coalinga. Oh, sure, Coalinga.
So how I describe Coalinga to people is if you are driving down I-5 and it smells really bad,
Wow.
right? Harris Ranch, the feedlot right there, or Harris Ranch, the hotel.
So true.
That's Coalinga. But how Coalinga got started, we don't have to turn this into a Coalinga show, but how Coalinga got started was it was a boom town. Back in the late 1800s, they started drilling for oil. And so at one point, Coalinga was one of the most prosperous areas in the state, and they're still pulling oil out of the ground well over 100 years later. So if you've seen the movie There Will Be Blood, Coalinga. So Coalinga had a lot of farming, oil, and prisons.
Oh, wow. Is the prison still open?
Oh, there's multiple prisons. Yeah. So Pleasant Valley,
Wow.
Avenal, and then there's another facility. There used to be a Claremont Custody Center where they would people transitioning out of like more high security, getting ready to transition into the community, would go to Claremont Custody Center, and so it was just so funny because like people were in there for like smoking weed and selling weed and stuff. And now I think one of Snoop Dogg's family members bought Claremont Custody Center, and they're growing weed in the cells. They're using it as a grow center. But all that to say,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I don't get a chance to talk about Coalinga with a whole lot of people now that we're in, the Sacramento area. But I was just talking with our special guest today, Miss Cyndy Silva, and she has an upcoming listing in Coalinga.
Yes, I
Not
do.
Not just any listing, but this is like a trophy listing.
Absolutely. A 5,000-acre ranch with 3 homes on it.
5,000 acres.
What do they need 3 homes for? Is this a family estate?
It is. It's actually been in the family for almost 300 years.
What? Seriously?
There is even a cemetery on the property where all their relatives have been buried, and there's tombstones that I toured the other day from the 1700s.
Okay, so if it's been around for 300 years, why would they think about selling it?
Well, they're not selling it all. They're only selling 5,000 acres. Believe it or not, they own much more than that. We're not really sure how much they own, but mountains and mountains. But they're going to relocate to Idaho and build a ranch there now.
Okay. Yeah, and so it's actually funny when Cyndy told me about this, I was like, "No way!" And she's like, "Yeah, the Navy SEALs go out there." I was like, "I know this place."
Yes.
You have the listing, and then there's like a famous guy that makes saddles and belt buckles.
Yes.
And I'm like, I know that guy. I went to church with that guy.
Like, yeah, it is so cool. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of property I've ever walked on. Just you could feel and see the history there. Yeah, they're one of only 6 places in the United States that have a private gun range that the Navy SEALs do practice at.
Yep.
So with the popularity of shows like Yellowstone and 1923, I think a property like this becomes very appealing nowadays, more so than in the past.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Man, if I had the money, I would buy it in a heartbeat.
Me too. We do. We call it the Little Yellowstone because that's what we feel like when we're out
Oh,
there.
really? Is that what you call
Yep.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, 5,000 acres. But what is it selling for right now?
We're going to go on the market about $7 million.
$7 million.
And that includes the 3 properties, the 3 homes?
It does. And what we're trying to also pull in is some hunting rights as well, because when I was there the other day, we saw a herd of elk, we saw wild pig, we saw deer.
Yep.
coyotes, they got everything out there, but elk is becoming a very popular thing to hunt here. So
it's just fun to hear the names, like Den Hartog.
Yes.
My dad, we were talking with my dad earlier, and my dad started teaching in Coalinga in the early 80s. And so he taught, like, there's only one school district. So there's not like your kids can go to different schools, you know? And so he taught most of the town for 40 years. Like, you know, you go back, and so he knows them, he knew their families. But yeah, it's just fun to hear the Coalinga names. So like Coalinga names to me would be like Verus, Oxborough, Cranehagen, and Den Hartog, and Allen. But yeah. So, anyways, it's just a small world.
yes, I'm just excited to meet someone from Coalinga. I had no idea, Johnny.
Yeah, we're a rare breed. There's not a whole lot of us, born and raised. Yeah. So, anyways, but you do more than just luxury 5,000 acre, ranches. Tell us a little bit about your history and how you got started in real estate.
Well, how I got started in real estate is an interesting story. I actually did not want to go into real estate, but my best friend made me. So my background was in construction, and I've always worked running big companies, helping build houses, about 1 in every 5 homes during the boom our companies were building.
Wow.
And then I decided to have babies, and I wanted to stay home and raise them. So I raised them at home for about 7 years. And my best friend, Darcy Stratton, worked for this lovely gentleman named Brent Gove.
Brent who?
And wanted me to meet him so bad and just begged me every day to come to Keller Williams at that time and meet him. And of course, you fall in love with Brent the day that you meet him, and he offered me a job. And I was like, but I'm not looking for a job. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And I ended up taking the job, never looking back, and one of the best careers I've ever worked in. Just so happy to be here today. And now it's been 11 years.
11 years. Man, time certainly flies. But when Valerie and I have said for years, we have so much respect for one of the brokers in Coalinga. We actually, when we got started, we hung our license under her, and you remind me so much of her. And here's why: she loves to have a good time. You love to have a good time.
Yes, I do.
And super knowledgeable about the market, like very much a connector. You're very much a connector, and you know so much. Like, if I have a question and instead of just calling somebody else, I would call you.
Oh, thank you.
Because you know about local communities, you know about events, you know about contracts.
Yes.
You're just very, very, very knowledgeable. And there's not a whole lot of realtors out there like that.
Thank you. Well, knowledge is power in this business. The more you know, the more you could educate your clients, the more referrals you're going to get.
And convert, right?
And convert.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they have to trust you.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, you just recently closed one in Whitney Ranch.
Yeah.
Right? You mind sharing us telling a little bit about how you earned their trust and your expertise came into play there?
Absolutely. So there were some clients that were moving here from out of state, and they didn't know anything about California nor the area of Rockland or Placer County. So they actually saw my sign in Whitney Ranch and gave me a call, tracked me down through my website. And sometimes we never know if these kind of people are real or not, because you get a lot of those people blowing smoke. So I decided to call them, and they were very interested in knowing about the area and where should they go to move. And unfortunately, they already went through 2 sets of realtors who were not giving them the data to help them choose a town to live in. So I listened to all their wants and needs, and as soon as I heard all their wants and needs, I knew exactly what home to take them to in Whitney Ranch. And I said, can you meet me tonight? Like, I didn't wait that day. Let's go look at a house.
Nice.
And we went to look at it, and believe it or not, their 90-year-old parents are living with them. So they wanted a bedroom downstairs. However, this house did not have a bedroom downstairs, but it had everything else on their checklist. So I made a phone call before I went there and talked to my general contractor, and I said, look, give me some options of things that I could do. So when I go and show them this house and they're bummed there's no downstairs bedroom, that we could have a solution. They could still do stairs now, but clearly at their age, they might not be able to do.
Yeah, I mean, props to them doing stairs at 90.
Oh my gosh, they're incredible. I was so impressed with them. So we talked about the chairlift you could do, but as you know, if you go to sell your home, no one really wants a chairlift,
No.
Going up their stairs. And come to find out, if you just spend $10,000 more, you could put an elevator in your house.
No way.
Now, how cool is an elevator versus a chair.
That's an upsell right there.
Right?
So does your contractor put in elevators?
Yes.
Who's your contractor?
Miss Florin is my contractor. He actually I met him from Brent.
Okay.
He used to be our carpet cleaning guy. And then I got him to flip houses with me. And now he has a general contractor's license and he flips houses now with me.
And his name's
Florin Tataran. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And does elevators.
So
$10,000. That's it for an hour.
$10,000 more than the chair. So
Okay.
the chairs, they're still expensive, but the
yeah.
chairs are like 20 grand and an elevator's 30 grand. And you think about it, you go to sell a luxury property. How cool is it that you have an elevator?
Now I just want a multi-story. I live in a single story. Now I just want a multi-story so I can put an elevator in.
Right?
That's me like a little 3-2, 1,500 square feet, but I got an elevator.
No, but I got an elevator. And it's just such a cool feature. So their whole mindset changed. And I said, hey, if they can't make it, we could always turn the laundry room and make that another bathroom downstairs, a full bathroom downstairs. Yeah. So I came into it having solutions of things that will actually work for their family. And they loved the solutions because, let's be honest, mom and dad might not be around forever, so they didn't want to redo their house just specifically for them. Yeah. And so I came with these solutions, and they loved it. And I said, well, let's go look at a couple more houses because, we got to compare them to others. We went and looked at 2 other homes. Made a great relationship with this listing agent. Of course, I call her back and they have an offer now.
Of course.
And I'm like, no.
Classic Brent, right? Offers have babies.
Absolutely. So I was like, but I developed a great relationship with her. And she goes, Cyndy, we are having some problems with these people. She literally called me, I want your offer. You submit me an offer and I will fight for your offer. And so because this listing agent I never met, we developed this relationship. I did exactly what she said, and our offer was accepted. And 19 days later, they moved in.
19 days.
So from start to finish, 20 days, I was able to get these clients from meeting them to getting them in the house in 20 days, where multiple realtors before couldn't even get them into a contract.
And you attribute that to?
Knowledge. Simple things is, they were looking in Whitney Ranch. Hey guys, do you know that we have an app here in Whitney Ranch? You could download it. It could tell you when the pool parties are, when the car shows are. And they're like, what? No one's told us that. Just the simple knowledge of things like an app that the neighborhood has, or what the ratings of the local schools are, or that Nugget's coming to be built down the street, which is a big deal to have that grocery store. Knowing future growth and why your equity will always grow there by what's going on around there is, once again, very powerful, because now they're doctors and they do travel every 4 years, so they might have to resell in 4 years. And knowing that there's going to be equity by what I've taught them made it an easy sale for them.
That's so cool, Cyndy.
Thank you.
And that's just one example of clients working with Cyndy. When we come back, we're going to give you a few more.
Looking to sell your home this summer? Maybe you're thinking about retiring, moving out of state, but you don't want the complicated process of organizing and doing those costly home repairs, open houses, staging. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can actually be very easy and simple when you work with Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty. Listen to this. They can get you at least 3, not 1, not 2, but at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. That means no need to do all the extra work. Just bam, at least 3 cash offers. It's super simple, super easy and fast. What do? You just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Just go online and Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home. There's a reason why they have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. Don't take our word for it. Do the research yourself. Again, Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So we are back with Miss Cyndy Silva, and she's going to talk to us. This was a great story, Cyndy, about how you turned, one open house into like 2 closings, 3 closings?
4 closings.
4 closings. How did you do that with one open house?
You know what? It was literally the simplest thing. So first of all, I had a client who bought a brand new JMC home, which I'm a huge fan of JMC. I think they're one of the best builders around. And I kind of knew when they bought it, they just got married. They're like, and it was only 1,000 square feet. They're like, oh, this is going to be our first home. And I'm thinking, you ain't going to raise kids in this house.
Nope.
Like, that is not big enough. So of course, 2 years later, I was correct. And they give me a call and they're like, Cyndy, we're ready to sell. And I said, no problem. You know, they want to stay in Roseville, but we're going to sell it. So I said, let me work my strategies. And the number one thing is this house, once again, this was one of the first ones to sell in the subdivision. So it was just 2 years old. Most of the houses were about, 18 months old in that neighborhood. So the first thing I wanted to do was go over and make it good with Jesse, the sales rep, over across the street with JMC, because they're selling the exact same homes across the street. They've moved to the next subdivision. Wow. For me, the thing I want to do is always build a relationship with those builders, which I have. I never want to be their competition. I want to be their friend. I want to be able to sell their homes and then be able to promote my home. So
that's a great point, because somebody may walk in and they don't have anything to sell them. But hey, by the way, did you know this house across the street? And now they're sending traffic to your house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we get ready to go in the market, and I do what's called a pop by. And what that is I'm popping by each neighbor's house and inviting them to the open house, and I leave a little gift for them. So the very first one that I did, it was I've got the insider information on this house in your neighborhood with a packet of apple cider.
Get
it? And end up having a great open house, selling it quickly within, I think, 10 days. Within that 10 days, a neighbor 4 doors down calls me. We're getting ready to move out of state. We got your Popeye. We'd love for you to sell this house. We saw how quickly you sold the other house.
Wow.
Awesome. So I got another listing.
That's crazy, though, in this community. Like, people just moved here.
Just moved here. You would never think anyone would be moving or to market them.
Not within 18 months.
No. And so I was like, absolutely, I'm going to take this listing. So take that listing, sell that one in 5 days. Do a pop by for that one. This time I did popcorn, and I dropped it off on 50 neighbors' doorsteps. And
so you do 50?
50. I just do 50. And I said, hey, I'd love for you to pop by my open house. And the neighbor 3 doors down comes over, and we have this conversation. They just moved into it, and their daughter was getting ready to go into high school. And I was like, oh, how do you guys feel about the school district? And they were from the Bay Area and had no clue that Center School District was not in Roseville. They brought a Bay Area agent, and when they told them, hey, your kids will go to Center, they just assumed it was in Roseville. They had no idea. And so at my open house, I had to tell them, guys, I'm sorry, your kids aren't going to go to West Park down the street, the beautiful school that you think your kids are going to go to. I said, but do you know what? Let me make a call on Monday morning. I'm going to call the district and see if they're doing any inner city district transfers. Clearly not my job, but I wanted to help this family out. They were so nice. So I call, unfortunately, there's no inner city transfers. And I call them back and I say, hey, I'm sorry, they're not going to do any city transfers. The only way you're going to get into West Park is you have to you have to move to West Park.
Yeah.
The next day they call me, Cyndy, sell my house. We want to move to the West Park School District. So then I get that neighbor's house, and we go and look at one house, get them in contract in that one house right in West Park. And then their house took 9 days for me to sell. And that was how I got my 4 deals, all from apple cider and popcorn.
Apple cider and popcorn. And that was like a 3-week period, right? It was really quick.
3 weeks. Yep. All 3 weeks. Sold them all very quickly. And while all the other listings in the neighborhood are sat there for over 60 days.
So what do you attribute the speed at which your house sold to compared to all the others?
Knowledge. People need to know when they're coming into new construction, what are the Mellorees? For example, our Mellorees were put on a bond where across the street they were infinite. Do you know the difference of that? You know, people just throw out $1, but do you know how long they have to pay those Mellorees? Mm-hmm. Also, solar. Big thing is they were on NIM too, so they're dollar for dollar. The new construction homes, not bashing them, but they're getting 50 cents a dollar.
Yeah, so they have no control over that.
So when people say things like solar, do you really know what you're getting back in solar? Do you know what school district you're in? Do you know how long your Mellorees are? Knowing all that data that's going to set you apart from the new construction or other listings over there is how you earn these people's trust. And once they go, well, no one else has taught us that, you taught us that, they're willing to work with you because they could trust you.
And those are all selling points too. Like, hey,
absolutely,
the Mellorees is going to go away. You're going to actually make money or save more money over here than going across the street.
Absolutely. And just simple things of knowing which way the sun sets or the sun rises. That's important to people. Knowing the future growth, like we know where, Costco's going. Yeah. Knowing a lot of people were unaware of Sac City's extension going out there. And that's going to be a huge selling, feature.
Yep.
And as a rental in the future. So just really knowing the knowledge of the town, and especially if you get out of towners, knowing the highlights of Roseville, all the cool things, just like the electric pickleball courts that just opened up and the new things that are coming here makes people really excited to move to our area because there's so much to do here. And as someone who's from the Bay Area where you've kind of already done all the things, to hear new exciting things really gets people excited to move here.
That's so cool. And so whether you're a buyer or a seller or more importantly an agent, how do you stay up? Because you are like so knowledgeable about all this stuff. How do you stay up on all this information?
Believe it or not, I have, for the last 11 years I've been in real estate, I dedicate 1 day a week to go to training, if not 2. And I have never steered away from that. So whether I go to a Placer County Association of Realtors meeting, I go to a team meeting, I go to a training online, an EXP training, knowledge is power. So I'm also being involved on nonprofits in the community as well.
That is good.
Even I'm hosting Bunko tonight for the Roseville Chamber of Commerce. I'm not even a member, but now I know all of them, making those connections to know things out there.
Got it. Yeah, so that's a good point. Val and I are starting to think, because we do meetings every single morning for the team, but we're thinking about maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, going over to Placer County Association of Realtors, our local association,
yes,
and just interfacing with other agents and hearing the speakers, just so that way it's not us in our own little bubble, but it's also getting more information about what's happening in the community and
absolutely. And the opportunity. I mean, the mayor was just speaking the other day and I walk in and my husband and her are talking about the best tacos in town. When do you get an opportunity to sit down with the mayor and have a conversation about tacos?
Exactly.
At PCAR.
And those city officials are very knowledgeable. Like they know what's coming up and what's going in before most people even report on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you do a lot of pop buys, but that's not just for open houses. You also do that just to stay in touch with clients and around the holidays. Do you have any favorite pop buys you want to share?
Oh, my favorite ones. Gosh. Some of my favorite ones. I'm getting ready to do one. It's really funny. I don't know why I'm so excited because it's the lamest thing. It's chapstick. But
that's not lame.
It's lame, but it's like, it would be bomb if you send me a referral. And I've got this whole little package it comes in, and I'm really excited about that. I mean, I just think anything you give someone to remind you of it. Like I just ordered last night 200 beach balls to invite my clients to my customer appreciation night that we do at Folsom Lake. We do a big paddleboarding event every year. So, it's just giving out little blow-up beach balls. My favorite thing, God, I have to think of it. I've done so many. I love them.
And I love all of them. They're all so good.
I mean, it's just the thought that counts. I really like personalizing things. So probably one of my favorite things is signs because I can personalize them to people's families with their names and things like that. I really like those kind of things. But I think any little thing you do to put yourself in front of people just to go, don't forget about me, is really important. And they don't care what it is, really,
And you're fun, but you're also, again, super intelligent, like hyper intelligent and very knowledgeable about the market. So, for the people out there that enjoy having fun, they can connect with you. For the people that are like, hey, I want the data, I want the numbers, I want the details, you're like, I got you covered.
Yes.
I know all that.
Yes. I hated stats in college, but I love them in real estate
there you
for some
go.
reason.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm the same. But so you've been doing this, you said 11 years?
Yes.
I'm sure you have some crazy stories.
Oh, so many. I could write a book.
You should. You've told me a couple of them. You should totally write a book. What's when you think, if you were sitting around a campfire hanging out with other realtors, what would be your go-to, like, guys, this is the craziest thing that's happened?
The craziest one. Well, I've seen a lot of naked people, which was pretty crazy.
That's insane. I've never seen a naked person.
I have seen 3 times. I have seen them.
Okay.
And the worst part is when, it's your client's daughter's best friends that you catch. And one of them.
Oh my gosh.
Who happened to, they were out of town and sneak off out of school.
Parents are out of town.
And you catch them in the bathroom shower together.
You're showing the house.
Showing the house.
So you're not just like watering the plants. You're like in there like, oh my gosh.
With my children, by the way, that day.
Oh,
and they're
no.
like, Mom, the door won't open. It's because they're pulling on it the other way. I had no idea they were in there taking a shower together.
Oh my
Still
word.
to this day, my seller doesn't know. I didn't rat them out.
Oh my gosh, Cyndy.
So that one was probably very unexpected because I didn't think anyone was in the house. But I've had multiple of them where tenants don't want to move out. And so they like to be there naked in their beds
They're
when
just
you
protesting.
show up to make sure you want to leave very quickly. I've had that happen many
Wow.
times.
That's pretty smart.
Right? I mean, it
seems
works
like
really well. You
This is
scream
my
and
house,
run,
man.
Right?
You came in here.
Yep. It makes you run out real quick, let me tell you. You got to
Oh,
hold.
my word.
That's a smart strategy.
Right? It does make you laugh, but then you're like, I can't go back in.
Right.
No. Like filling out the showing feedback form. So any improvements? Yeah, remove the naked guy.
Yeah, remove the naked guy. And of course, immediately call the agent because I happen to know him. He's with our company. And they're like, he's not doing it again. And I'm like,
he's
yes,
a repeat
he
offender.
is.
Oh my gosh.
And it was one of those doors closed. No, think it's vacant again. And open the door and you're like, oh, hello.
It wasn't like it was locked and.
Oh no, it was. Yeah, he was posed right for us. He was
my
expecting
goodness.
us. So,
What a punk.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny. But I think the biggest surprise, unfortunately, was in my neighborhood, and something I didn't think that I was going to find. I was showing a client some houses in Rockland, and a few doors down from my house. We went into it, and there was a piercing station in the dining room. So that was really interesting, and they weren't for ears.
Just for clarification.
And so we're like, well, that's kind of weird to have that out. And it was kind of a weird vibe. Like all the floors were painted black. So it was kind of like a dark vibe. And we walk around the corner and, we look in the closet and there's a lot of very, very high, glittery, clear high heels. So you're like, what's really happening in here? And I look and there's a gentleman, an older man, staring in the corner of the room. And he turns around and he looks at me and you could tell he's very confused. And he goes, is this a plant holder? And I look up and I just start busting up laughing because I see this furry sex swing hanging from the corner of the room.
What?
It was not a plant holder. It was a sex swing. And of course, I didn't have the heart to tell the old man what it was. So I agreed it was a plant holder. And I walk out of the room laughing. And the listing agent walks in and he goes, you must have saw it. And I said, I did. And I don't even have any words for it. He goes, Cyndy, I was here yesterday afternoon and it wasn't up, which means they used it last night. And he's all, I didn't want to touch it and take it down. I'm like, I wouldn't either.
My word.
So,
how would you have handled that? Like if it was your listing, like clearly there's some room for improvement here.
Right. Well, first of all, I would have definitely taken a picture of it first to share with all my friends because it was funny.
Yeah. Before they change it. Yeah.
But I would have probably went and found some dishwashing gloves and took it down because it was leopard print and fuzzy. It kind of stood out.
Oh my word.
But it was funny. The house sold immediately. So clearly someone was into that vibe.
Okay. Yeah.
But then there seemed to be a theme in my neighborhood because then we go literally 1 block away and there's a house and my client was a car collector. So having a 3-car garage was really important to us. And we see the house is a 3-car garage and we go in the house and we're taking the tour and we get in the garage and we're like, this is weird. It's a 2-car garage. So we literally go back out to the front of the house and we're staring. We're like, no, it's a 3-car garage. Go back in the house. We're like, what is happening? So we start touching the walls and all of a sudden a wall opens up. And inside this 3-car garage, these strobe lights turn on as soon as the doors open.
Are you serious? Is it automatic?
They're censored. And in the room is 1 chair and a stripper pole in the middle of it.
Hey, got to keep the marriage young.
And of course, we had a client with a 10-year-old, and immediately he goes, what is that? Because we are laughing so hard. And my response is, it's a fireman pole.
There you go. Well, hey, I want to play on that.
No, you do not want to play on it. Oh my
goodness.
gosh. And then, of course, I call the listing agent because we're cracking up about it. He goes, turn on your cell phone, Cyndy. Play some music. And I'm like, what? He's like, just do it. And if you did, then the lights dance to the music on your phone.
Are you serious?
Yes. And so I see them often. I have to ask, is it still up? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, I don't know what to think about this.
Wait, they ended up buying the house?
They bought the house.
Are you
They
serious?
bought the house, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And they
Cyndy.
claim the stripper pole's still up.
Oh, wow. That is hilarious. So he changed. He's not a car collector anymore. He's got other hobbies.
Right. They're
Okay.
starting, they got a new exercise routine going on.
There you go. Well, hey, Cyndy, it was an absolute joy having you on the show. If anybody is looking for a phenomenal real estate agent, what is the best way for them to contact you?
Best way is to go ahead and text me at 916-878-6391.
You can also Google her. Her name is spelled unique, so there's a lot of ways to spell Cyndy. Go ahead. How do you spell yours?
Cyndy, so 2 Y's, and then Silva, Silva.
So if you just Google Cyndy Silva Realtor, she'll pop right up. You'll see all of her reviews, all of her experience. I mean, if you guys haven't had fun listening to this radio show, then I don't know. You must have fallen asleep. This thing is incredible. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'll admit it, I'm somewhat of a skeptical person. I need to find out the facts before I go into business with someone, or if I hand over my money or my information. So I like to do my research. And that's what we advise when it comes to selling or buying your home. Who you work with is important, because this is one of the largest transactions of your life. And so go with someone you can trust. There's a reason why Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty have over 1,000 five-star Google reviews, why they were voted #1 team in Roseville for the past 3 years, because they have earned the trust of their clients by providing amazing service, selling homes faster and for more money than anyone else in our area. So if you're interested in pursuing some information or a relationship or just some coffee and a conversation with Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Matt, have you heard what Zillow is doing about blocking listings?
Blocking listings. The #1 site to go find homes for sale is Zillow, correct?
Yeah, by a wide margin.
And so they've changed.
#2 is madeformorerealty.com.
That's right. Obviously,
madeformorerealty.com.
yeah. I mean, really almost right there. So they're changing their guidelines, right? They've been in the news in recent months because of a lot of dispute between local metro listings, correct?
So what's
and
happening?
Zillow?
So basically, Zillow's duking it out with Compass, because if listings do not go into the MLS and if listings sell off market, that reduces Zillow's offering.
Right.
Like, what just irritates me about Zillow is their desire for control over all this and how they posture themselves as being for the consumer. But what's happening with this is they're saying, if they're, I don't know, you should just be Switzerland. If you're for the consumer, then promote the homes. But what they're doing is they're saying they're doing this in defense of the consumer. They're doing it in defense of their market share. So if somebody markets a home off market, Zillow identifies that, then you are not allowed to go on the Zillow portal when you go live. And so that's basically what they're saying. Starting June, that you will not be able to go on the Zillow website. You won't find their house on Zillow, Trulia, any of those sites.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I get from their perspective what they're trying to accomplish, but it just seems like
How do you think that's going to play out? How do you think that will work then?
I think how it's going to play out is that the MLSs who Zillow pays are going to back Zillow, and they're going to say, do this. But what's ironic about the whole...
So Zillow's going to get their way.
That's my prediction. But what's ironic about the whole thing is right now, as of this recording, if you go to Zillow.com, there's literally a box you can check called Coming Soon, and you can filter on Zillow's own website for Coming Soon properties. But they don't want you to be doing Coming Soon off their platform. And the whole reason why the Coming Soon was outlawed in our local MLS was because they were worried about people double ending, representing both the buyer and the seller on the sale of that property. And so it was like, but literally the box is still there. You can still check like a Coming Soon.
Sure.
But Zillow's saying, nope, if it's not in the MLS, and if you market it off market without putting it on the public sites, then we're not going to promote it. And what's funny is Homes.com, who is a direct competitor of Zillow, has said, all right, fine. If you're getting blacklisted by Zillow, come over to our platform. We will promote your house, and we will actually pay money to promote your house to our millions of visitors every single month. So it's the portal wars.
Yeah.
Zillow's trying to hold on to its footing. Well, what's interesting too is Zillow's also really pumping their Zillow Showcase offering, which is a way to promote your listing over other listings. Like we've talked about it on the show before. How are you promoting somebody else's listing without, suppressing other people's listings?
Right.
And so what Zillow does is they will, and full disclosure, like we actually signed up for this program. First time I've paid money to Zillow in a long time, because I think it might be good for the consumer, for our clients. Because right now, as of this recording, last I checked, let's say there's 8,500 houses on the market right now, active on the market. Out of those houses, 93 had this extra marketing package that our company can now provide our sellers, which is incredible. Like
Yeah.
It's less than 1%. So, but Zillow has this Zillow Showcase program where you can now promote your property. So I'm using it to promote my clients' properties and get them more exposure and make sure that they're getting top dollar and their homes are selling in the timeline that they want.
Right.
But I kind of think it's a little hypocritical for Zillow to say, nope, don't use these other strategies to market the home. Only use ours. And by the way, it's your listing. You might have spent money. You might have spent time generating that business for you and your company. But if you want to promote it further, pay us extra money.
Yeah.
Here's I was literally for a run. So I'm training for an Ironman. So you got to do a lot of running. And I'm like, it's probably, I should be running at least 10 to 12 miles a day, which I don't care how fast you run. That's still a chunk of time. And so I'm just stuck in my own head. And I was thinking about this as I was running. And as far as, I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Well, from my perspective, it's Zillow. It's their website. I know it may not seem fair to everyone else, but they're going to do what's advantageous to them.
I get it.
For them
Okay.
to make the most money.
I got it.
So if it was Made for More Realty's website, obviously you want to promote your own listings.
I don't do that.
You don't?
I don't. There is a way you can filter. You can promote your own listings. I don't. I want people on my site who are able to see what they want to see. Like we have a branded app. So that way, because what Zillow does is they sell that information. They sell all your information. They sell the cookies.
Right.
They retarget it. So like vendors are getting title, escrow companies. We do not do that on our app. Like you can search privately.
Well, you just have a different integrity and ethics in the way that you conduct business than I would say most businesses out there. Because everyone's grabbing information. They're grabbing your data. No matter what website you go to, they follow you. Those cookies follow you wherever you go.
That's because I'm local. Like, who is Zillow? Like, where are you going to go into their office and like be mad at them? Like I work with the end consumer. I'm in their homes. We know their families, and when you are that close to the situation, there's more. I think there's more accountability. And honestly, Zillow doesn't have the accountability of like if you had a complaint with Zillow as a homeowner, who are you going to call?
Right.
There's not a Zillow helpline. So what I was going to say about Zillow is, as I was doing this run, Zillow postures itself as being a tool for agents. They're there to help the agents. They are there to help the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
If Zillow went away tomorrow, my business would still exist. I would find another way to promote properties and market them. If real estate agents went away tomorrow, Zillow would not exist. It would totally not exist.
That's a good point.
And so Zillow is built off the backs of agents, and when they are now getting more aggressive in their stance and trying to preserve their market share, it just seems like you're biting the hand that feeds you. And I don't think it's going to play out well in the long run for them. But in the short term, we do have that special program. You typically see luxury houses that have it, but we'll provide this extra service as long as they fit the certain parameters where it's going to benefit them.
Right.
Because
I still think Zillow still has that name branding familiarity, the recognition from consumers out there who, Zillow, I go to Zillow. Doesn't it pop up on the top of the page every time?
Most of the time, not every time, but yeah. I would say when I'm meeting with people, I'm like, hey, we're going to put your house on this website, this website, this website. By the way, what websites do you use? And there's like a list of all the top sites.
And there's more now than there have ever been. And there's more competition. So you're right in the fact that Zillow is losing market share.
Well, what always happens though is when I'm talking to them, I'm like, what websites do you like to use when you're looking at properties online? And 9 times out of 10, they say Zillow. They might say Zillow and Realtor.com. They might say Zillow and Redfin, Zillow and Homes.
Right, but they're always going to say Zillow.
But it's either Zillow or Zillow and. Very rarely is it the other way around. But yeah, so I don't know.
It's like the Google search engine, Everybody goes to Google because they were the first. And
they weren't the first.
Well,
AOL, Yahoo,
yeah, you're right,
and then Google. So Zillow's going to have its time to shine, and then there's going to be something else that comes
I think
around.
so. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm not here to like bash on Zillow or say Zillow's good or bad, or I'm not here to pass judgment on Zillow. I'm just here to say if you are interviewing agents. Like I was talking to a guy selling his house for sale in Loomis. He's like, I don't need an agent. I'll just put it on Zillow. Okay, great. You can totally do that. But it's only going on Zillow. It's not going on the thousands of other websites. You don't have that network of agents like how we do. You don't have a proactive marketing plan. And now, Mr. Fizbo, for sale by owner, you don't have access to the program that I'm paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in order to promote your home.
Right.
Like this isn't like a one-time fee. This is thousands of dollars every single month that I'm paying to promote your home on Zillow.
Right.
So, there's a lot of value when it comes to working with an agent, and that's why, over 90% of people use them. If they were just costing people money, then everybody would just for sale by owner their home or go with a less expensive option. But, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. As uncomfortable and as unpleasant as it is, to write a check.
What's uncomfortable? Writing the check, the commission check?
Yeah, you see it on the settlement statement. Like, oh my gosh, my agent is getting paid, all this money. But what they don't realize is how much money went into receiving that paycheck. And they don't, I mean, if you don't, 90% of realtors quit within 5 years. If they're cashing big checks and making all this easy money,
right?
Who's going to quit? People are more likely to be cops, firefighters, deal with homeless, deal with crazy kids in middle school,
right,
than they are to be real estate agents. And
I think that's probably the misunderstanding from the public is they do know a lot of real estate agents. How many is it they know? 5 to 10?
10. I think 10's the national average.
But I don't think they understand that these guys have other gigs going on. They're not killing it as real estate agents, right? I think that's the misunderstanding. They just assume every real estate agent they know is driving a Mercedes and selling 3 houses a week, and that's not true.
And when we come back from the break, I'll actually tell you what's really frustrating for the client in dealing with the realtor and what's really frustrating for the realtor, because honestly it comes down to expectations.
Looking to sell your home this summer? Maybe you're thinking about retiring, moving out of state, but you don't want the complicated process of organizing and doing those costly home repairs, open houses, staging. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can actually be very easy and simple when you work with Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty. Listen to this. They can get you at least 3, not 1, not 2, but at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. That means no need to do all the extra work. Just bam, at least 3 cash offers. It's super simple, super easy and fast. What do? You just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Just go online and Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home. There's a reason why they have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. Don't take our word for it. Do the research yourself. Again, Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Matt, we do this event so we provide a lot of support for our agents. Every single day there are multiple meetings. There's meetings at 8:30, there's meetings at 3:30 in the afternoons to help you with your scripts and your contracts so that we can communicate effectively.
So these are like trainings, not necessarily your traditional office meetings where you're learning the new protocols and the traditional boring office meetings. These are equipping meetings to help you do your job better.
These are 100% equipping meetings, and they're quick, they're punchy, they're 15 minutes.
Oh, really?
They're not like taking up
Love that. Can you imagine if our office meetings were only 15 minutes like yours?
Goals.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. But they're consistent. So every day, twice a day, there's 2 of these meetings. And then every day, there's also a 3rd meeting that people can plug into where we're talking about other things. So there's all this support. Weekly, we have this huge team meeting. Typically, there's 30 to 50 people in there where we're talking about more in depth, bringing in special speakers. And then once a month, we fly in somebody from out of the area.
Okay.
And these are like in our industry, like household names, very famous, very successful. Either they're selling hundreds or 1,000 houses a year, or they've been coaching for a long time and they know a lot of ways to grow a real estate agent's business. Most recently, we flew this guy in and lives up in Washington. And at one point, he had 750 active and pending listings at one time. And he's had months where he has sold over 100 homes a month. So this is a guy who knows a little bit about real estate. And what he was telling us is that, man, this is the second time I forgot my train of thought. I need to drink more coffee.
But you're saying you flying these guys in for training to help your agents.
To help the agents and level up their skills. And he taught a lot of different word tracks about like how clients will, there's this miscommunicated expectations. And what he was saying, I remember it now. And so what he was saying was a typical buyer's agent is going to be fun and bubbly and almost like Cyndy, who we had in here earlier today. Like somebody who's like instant friend. And
why is that important?
So for a buyer's agent, that's because you're building the rapport, right? And you're showing them things they want to see. And maybe you're helping them get an offer on a home accepted. He said, and I thought this was very interesting, but I totally agree with it. Listing agents are very mean, for lack of a better term. They are I think he used the word stone cold killers, is what he said. And the reason why is because we are constantly delivering bad news. We're constantly telling clients things that they don't want to hear. Hey, you should probably make this adjustment here. The house has been on the market for a while. We have not seen any activity. I know my marketing works. I know. You're not wanting to improve the condition of the home, so that only leaves us with the price. And nobody wants to hear that they're
right.
I have a house right now that I paid for an appraisal before we went live, just so that way that they felt comfortable with the situation and they didn't think I was going to underprice their home. I paid for an appraisal. I provided with them. They wanted to list the house $35,000 above what the appraised value was. And now I'm telling them, hey guys, we're not getting offers, we're not getting any showings. We need to adjust the price. And they're like, I don't want to give the house away. I don't want to drop it. And you're not dropping it. You overpriced it to begin with.
Right.
Here's the appraisal. And so the difference between a buyer's agent and a listing agent is oftentimes they're having these difficult conversations. If your house doesn't sell in 1 week, like one weekend, the agents think you're doing something wrong. They're talking to their friends and they're like, oh, well, so-and-so sold their house really quickly. I don't know why is your house not selling? They must not be doing this and this and this. And they blame the agent. So the listing agent is very easy to blame rather than look at, hey, maybe there's more to this than just blaming the agent. Now, are there bad agents? Absolutely. But guess what? Homes.com recently came out with a report. And granted, this is like in the Sacramento metro area. This isn't necessarily speaking to if you're listing your specific home. But what they found year over year, April to April, that home prices dropped, with a D, they dropped in the Sacramento region by 1.4%. That is a very hard pill for sellers to swallow.
Yeah.
When their neighbor's house might end up selling more than what they're going to sell their home for. And this is new, this is evolving, this is really, really a tough situation for sellers because they want to work with somebody who's going to get them top dollar.
Yeah.
So if I walk in and I tell you realistically, hey, here's what the comps are showing, and then somebody goes, hey, I can get you more, you're going to want to go with that person that can get you more, and they're just telling you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And we're at what I would call like a shoulder market. So until they start hearing from their friends, until they start hearing it on the news, they're not going to believe that home prices may actually be going down.
Right.
And so what does that mean for buyers? Hey, now is a great opportunity. You can get great terms. You might even be able to get a great price on the home right now. And if you're going to be there for 5 to 7 years, don't sweat it. The market's going to go back up. But for sellers, they're wanting to pull their house off the market, maybe hit pause for a little bit. It may not benefit them. It may not benefit them to wait. In the past, it has benefited. If you don't get your price, I'll just relist it next year. It may not benefit you to wait next year or relist next year because the home prices may be down from this year. Again, a lot of this is hinging on what happens with interest rates. Trump is doing a lot of things, right, between tariffs and his big, beautiful bill, and that has, significant ramifications.
Credit rating change,
right, based off the potential passage of that bill.
Right.
I think, what is it, $4 trillion? They think that the government...
$5 trillion
that the government will bring in less in the next 10 years. And you know what? And because of that, people are worried about, the interest rates may have to stay high. And if interest rates stay high, there are more homes coming on the market right now. If you're listening to this and you're a real estate agent, go to Sacramento Appraisal Blog. Like, that is incredible. SacramentoAppraisalBlog.com. His name is Ryan. He's been on the show. And And you'll learn about, hey, this is exactly what an appraiser is seeing happening in our market. If you're a homeowner, if you're looking to get in the market, go to sacramentoappraisalblog.com and you'll see what agents are reading. And you can see what the agent's perspective is. Because he tells it black and white. And basically, the market is shifting. It's flattened out and it may start going down. We don't know what's going to happen, so just take it day by day, quarter by quarter. But just be aware that the listing agent may be telling you what you need to hear, but not necessarily what you want to hear in the market.
Strike that, reverse it. They're telling you what you want to hear. They're not telling you what you need to hear.
A good listing agent.
Right.
A good listing agent is going to tell you what you need to hear. A bad listing agent is going to tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
When the listing agent is telling you, hey, you know what, we probably need to adjust the price, or hey, like we have another house. It was on the market for a while, and we had multiple offers at the same price point. But after the 5th offer came in over a period of months, they're like, okay, we'll take it. But because they didn't trust us, they didn't believe it. They need to see it multiple times.
Yeah.
So I would just, if you trust your agent enough to hire them, trust them enough when they're giving you advice. And if you don't trust them, then find another agent. But at the end of the day, houses sell when price and condition align. So you can either adjust the price or you can improve the condition of the home. But when you have a solid real estate marketing plan, like what Made for More plans, we have a 195-point marketing plan. You can read about it. Just go to madeformorerealty.com. But when you have that thorough of a marketing plan, it's not because people aren't seeing the house. It's not because nobody knows the home doesn't exist. It's either because price and condition are not in alignment.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So, all right, we'll see you next week.
I'll admit it, I'm somewhat of a skeptical person. I need to find out the facts before I go into business with someone, or if I hand over my money or my information. So I like to do my research. And that's what we advise when it comes to selling or buying your home. Who you work with is important, because this is one of the largest transactions of your life. And so go with someone you can trust. There's a reason why Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews, why they were voted #1 team in Roseville for the past 3 years, because they have earned the trust of their clients by providing amazing service, selling homes faster and for more money than anyone else in our area. So if you're interested in pursuing some information or a relationship or just some coffee and a conversation with Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.